welcome back to the channel. I'm Callie and today I'm going to be going through my February TBR. I'm really excited for February. I think I've bitten off a little more than I can chew for this month considering it's the shortest month of the year, but whatever. So the first thing for the month is I'm going to be finishing the Serpent and Dove trilogy. Now, I read Serpent and Dove back when it dropped in 2019, and I heard that Blood and Honey had a huge cliffhanger, so I decided to wait until Gods and Monsters came out, and this came out, I think, over the summer. So I finally have all of them. I have the special glitter sprayed editions that are coming off of my hands. So I will be finishing this series. I'm really excited to jump back into this world. I remember loving Lou and Reed's story of a witch and witch hunter are forced to marry for a publicity stunt. Next, I have The Queens of Innisleer by Tessa Gratton. This is a retelling of King Lear, but obviously instead of a king, it is a queen. Now, King Lear is actually one of the few Shakespeare plays I have not read, so I'm very unfamiliar. So I'm really excited. I do love Shakespeare, so I have a lot of high hopes for this book. Up next, I have Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. This is my October Fairy Loot book, and I'm catching up. I'm only like a month and a half behind at this point. But this is a spin-off of her Caraval series, and we are following Jax, who is definitely one of my favorite characters in the series. So the fact that he gets his own, I think, duology or even trilogy all to himself, I am so excited. This is enemies to lovers, broken fairy tale. I haven't read a really good fairy tale retelling in a hot minute, so I really hope that this scratches that itch. Next, for catching up with my book of the months, I have The Boyfriend Project by Farrah Rochon. This is a romance. Couldn't go into February without putting a romance on this TBR. So this follows a young woman who has been catfished by her ex accidentally, and basically through live tweeting, her and his two other girlfriends expose him, and they decide to make a pact to not date for a while. But of course, obviously, she's gonna find some love interest and has kind of have to back off from that pact. So I'm excited. I've heard really good things about this story, and I love a good modern contemporary romance. Next, I have This Mortal Coil by Emily Suvada. This is a sci-fi story where we're following a daughter of a renowned geneticist who has been working on a cure for a deadly virus that has spread across the entire world. And she is an expert hacker, and when her father is kidnapped by this weird organization, she has to go into hiding while also trying to figure out what happened to her father. I'm excited about this. I feel like this series goes under the radar. I've heard good things, so I have a lot of high hopes. Plus I want to read more sci-fi. I've been digging the sci-fi. Next, I have Mortal Heart by Robin LeFevers. This is book 3 in the Grave Mercy trilogy, which is a historical fiction following the takeover of Brittany by France. And I've been really enjoying this. We're following these women who have been trained as assassins because they were all sired by death. And we're following these two main women as they try and protect the Duchess of Brittany as war starts to come at her on all fronts. This is around the 1200 era. And I've really been enjoying this. I'm excited that excited and sad that this is the last book. There is a companion series that I have automatically added to the roster. So I'm excited to see how this all coalesces and comes together. Next, I have No Exit by Taylor Adams. This is a this is a suspense thriller novel that happens in the span of one night, where a bunch of characters are stranded in a snowstorm but they find this kid in a cage at this rest stop. And you are in this perspective of this woman, and you're trying to figure out which one of these people at the rest stop have kidnapped this child. And I believe they're also trying to find the child. Like, they just find a cage and like proof that a child was in there. I'm not really sure on the semantics, and I try and go into these relatively blind, but I know Sarah talked about this a lot when it came out and really liked it, so it's finally made its way up to my TBR. Next, I have The Lady Rogue by Jen Bennett. This follows the daughter of essentially an Indiana Jones, and when her father and her crush betray her and go on an expedition without her, and only her crush returns without her father, he enlists her help to basically storm Vlad the Impaler's castle and try and figure out where her father is. It sounds like a lot of just deep diving into history. I don't know why just suddenly I've been getting a lot of Vlad the Impaler stories surrounding him. Not sure where that came from, but I remember just falling in love with this cover, so I'm really excited to jump into this. Next, I have They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. This is a story in a futuristic era where when you die, I think it's when you have like 24 hours to live, you're paired up with someone who also only has 24 hours to live, so that you have a buddy to go through death with. I've seen this all over BookTok and it's intrigued me. I've never read an Adam Silvera book, so I'm intrigued. I think it's gonna break my heart, but I'm intrigued. And the last book that I have for my official TBR is The Reader by Traci Chee. I honestly picked up this entire series from Book Outlet once because they were all like $2 each, and I read the synopsis for the first time. In a world where reading is unheard of, our main character finds the book, like all caps, the book. And it's the one thing that can save her and the one thing that can destroy her. And I love the reading is taboo trope. It's not a very common trope. The only book series that I can think of that has that trope is Grace and Fury, and that's only women reading is bad trope, which is very similar, but this sounds like nobody reads. So I'm intrigued to see if I'm going to enjoy this series or not. And that is what I have for the month of February. I'm excited to dive into my TBR. I have a couple more books after this that I have planned. We'll see if I actually get to those. This is the more manageable portion of the TBR that I have, so hopefully I'll be able to get through them all. And that's going to be it for today's video. Please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. We post videos every Tuesday, Thursday, with the occasional Sunday, and I'll see you guys in our next video. Bye!